What happens when the most powerful man in the world has a religious conversion and decides to stop killing animals and tries to provide for their welfare in his entire kingdom? We're going to find out today. Hello everyone, welcome back to Threpticon. Today we're going to talk about Ashoka the Great, the emperor bound by Dharma, and we're going to see what I mean. So who was Ashoka? So he was the last Mauryan emperor born sometime around 304 BC. So after the bitter conflict in the conquest of Kalinga, so to expand his empire, there was this bloody war, right? So after seeing all the death and destruction of his fellow man, he converted to Buddhism and basically made it his mission to convert his entire empire to Buddhism. So he made the spreading of Buddhism his main goal as emperor. So one thing that he did in specifically is he mandated the building of human and animal hospitals, places where they could cure and take care of humans and animals. Also, the planting of orchards for people and for animals to eat right along the roadsides, and other infrastructure such as digging wells along the roadsides. So a lot of civic works aimed at bettering people's lives and animals' lives. And he sent special ministers to teach the rural folks about Buddhism. He sent special emissaries all the way into to the west, right, all the way to Egypt, and I think all the way to Greece. And he died in 238 BC. So this is the brief period of time when Buddhism was very central to Indian religious life. Because today it's a minor portion. There's a lot more Hindus and Sikhs and Muslims and Christians and Jains in India, but at this time Buddhists were much more competitive. So yeah, you can see the maximum extent of his empire here, and he's commemorated in all sorts of reliefs, and he also built a number of pillars throughout his empire as a testament to his rule. So he's famous for something called these rock edicts. So these, and they're written in an indecipherable script for centuries and centuries. But basically, on these giant rocks, he wrote these laws that he wanted to promulgate throughout his empire. What is interesting for the history of vegetarianism? Edicts 1 and 2. Edict 1 is this: formerly in the kitchen of beloved of the gods, so that's talking about Ashoka, King Piyadasi, hundreds of thousands of animals were killed every day. That's crazy to think about. So formerly in his kitchen, hundreds of thousands of animals were killed to make curry. But now with the writing of this Dhamma edict, only 3 creatures, 2 peacocks and a deer are killed, and the deer not always. And in time, not even these creatures will be killed. So he's trying to taper down his animal use in his personal sort of grand palace. Like I said at the beginning, a ridiculous number, probably a lot of birds and chickens and who knows what were being killed. So at the present time of the writing of this, only 2 peacocks and a deer, and then they're going to try to taper that down to 0 animals being killed to feed all these ministers and servants and the king himself, etc., or the emperor, I should say. Edict 2 is also very interesting. It sort of demands medical treatment for humans and medical treatment for animals. Along roads, I have had wells dug and trees planted for the benefit of humans and animals. So this idea of animal welfare. So let's take a look. So the edict says he wants to build them, but were the animal hospitals ever built? So that's my question. There's no archaeological evidence for these sorts of places. That isn't to say that they didn't exist. They could have been very informal, just sort of collection of animals kept in an enclosure. However, in India, since that time, once again, circa 250 BC, whatever it is, there have been similar things: animal hospitals, sanctuaries. Today in India, you find so the Jain religion runs animal sanctuaries called Pancharapolis, and you find specifically cow sanctuaries called Goshalas. So to a certain extent, what Ashoka tried to propose did come to fruition in the the last 2,300 years. Um, so that brings an interesting question. The most powerful man in the world bans effectively the killing of animals, or at least for his own affairs, government affairs. So that brings to my question: should governments ban the killing of animals? I mean, I have my thoughts. They already do it. You can, there's laws about hunting. There's laws about killing pets. They already do it. So anyway, that answers that question. But I'm interested to hear what people think. So I have some works cited here, and with that, we're finished. All right. See you again next time. Bye bye.